This is the wrapping paper. How do you make a bouquet? Hello everybody! I am in the kitchen today because today's video is going to be a very fun video. I'm gonna be doing two things. They're very different, but it's gonna be a good one, I hope. So basically, the other day I was looking at my calendar and I realized I actually just passed the 1 year mark of me moving to Singapore, and so I figured in celebration of this kind of 1 year anniversary of me being in this amazing place, I wanted to take this time to answer some FAQs. You guys have been asking me a lot of very similar questions, and I'm like, all right, today, all the questions about moving, working, living in Singapore, I will answer it. While I answer your questions, I'm gonna be doing something extremely random. So basically I have a friend called Leia, and our birthdays happen to be on the same day, March 16th, which is Monday. So by the time you watch this video, it's my birthday today! But anyway, I know she really likes flowers and I know she really likes fried chicken. And so I figured, why not combine the two? I want to do something for her. So I went ahead and went to Popeyes just now and I picked up a bunch of different pieces of chicken and biscuits. I have the goods. They were so nice at Popeyes. I told the lady I'm trying to make a bouquet out of fried chicken, and then they gave me like extra boxes because I realized I'm gonna need to give the entire bouquet some structure. So I'm very excited to get started with this arts and craft project. I hope my friend likes it. So I also picked up some wrapping paper and skewers, and I don't know how I'm actually gonna do this, but as I answer your questions, I'm gonna try to make this fried chicken bouquet. Also, today's lighting is gonna be really whack because it's actually sunset time, which is a terrible time to film, but I was running errands all day, so anyway, let's get started. So I went on Instagram and asked you guys to send in all your questions, and you guys delivered. So I will be answering these. I sanitized my phone front and back because I know I'll be touching food. Also just washed my hands. I'm gonna actually take off my rings. So alrighty, let's get started here. I'm gonna scroll through all your questions and start answering them. All right, the first question is, if given the opportunity, would you want to stay in Singapore long-term or still rather go back to Canada? And there are other similar questions where it's like, do you see yourself permanently settling your life in Singapore? Any plans on getting PR in Singapore? Would you consider living in Singapore even when you have a family? You guys really want to know if I'm staying here. Don't miss me too much if I leave. But anyway, no. Can you guys actually see what I'm doing? Let me try to like tilt this down. What? Alright, I think this is better. Okay. But I feel like I need to go like this now while I'm filming in order to be in frame. Let's get those squats in, guys! Let's go! Okay, would I see myself being in, you know what, why don't I just, can I sit? No, this is kind of weird. Okay. Oh, the struggles of filming. Okay. So as you guys know, when I first moved to Singapore, it was really fun, and I'm really thankful to have this opportunity to be here. But the first 6 months was rough because I had trouble making friends. I didn't know anyone moving here. But after I got the friend situation figured out and really just started living life normally in Singapore, I fell in love with it here. I did not expect myself to. I think when you talk to most expats that move here, they'll tell you that they plan on staying here for just a few years and they're gonna go back to their home country. But I really like it here. I mean, I would not be opposed to staying here long term. I don't want to say anything definitively because I don't know, man, like a year ago, I didn't even freaking know I was gonna move to Singapore. I thought I was gonna be in Canada or in the States or something. So in this moment right now, I would be open to staying here for longer. And yeah, it's so exciting. One thing about Singapore that I really like, and I say this to a lot of people too, is that I feel like there's a natural selection process that goes on here where, as an expat myself, if I meet someone else that also moved here for work, chances are they're also doing something really cool, they're at the top of their industry, and that's the reason why they were able to get a work visa sponsored for them. And so regardless of what industry they're in, you can be in like finance, you can be in arts, whatever, but like anyone that moved here for work is pretty ambitious and pretty adventurous as well, and I really like that because that's like a baseline threshold. If you're moving here to the other side of the world or to a different country, you've got guts, and those are the type of people that I get along really well with. So I find that really awesome about Singapore. Also, okay, I really need to get started with this thing because I'm actually running a little bit late. I asked for like an extra box because I feel like in order for it to be in a cone shape, you probably need some type of like structure to it, but I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Let me just see. I bought 2 wrapping papers. This one is like cloth. This is gonna be like the fancy interior one. And then this is aluminum. Okay, yeah, so the answer to your question is I really like it here in Singapore, and I would not mind staying here for longer. But I'm also really open because all my life I actually set my eyes on moving to California in the States, because if you're in like tech and startup world, that is like the place to be. I think I would still love to like give that a go, but we'll see where life takes me, you know? This is the wrapping paper. How do you make a bouquet? This is how long it is. I'm gonna cut this. I hope I don't mess this up. Why is this so wrinkled? Next question is, what's the biggest difference between living in Singapore versus Canada/USA? Oh, there are a lot of differences. Oh my gosh, okay. There are a lot of differences I find. How does this? One of the biggest differences I find, because I lived in Hong Kong as a kid as well, I feel like in general, Asia just moves at a faster pace than, let's say, Toronto, because I don't know, maybe that's just like a cultural thing. You just feel like people are in more of a rush. I think that's especially applicable to places like Hong Kong. Another thing that I find that Canada, it's a little bit better is customer service in general. Because customer service in Singapore is like a total hit or miss. If you're lucky, it's like, it's fantastic and they're very, very polite. But if you're unlucky, oh man. Okay, I think I made this kind of like, this thing. So I think we can start putting, actually assembling this whole thing. So next question is it expensive to sustain yourself? A lot of similar questions about this. In your honest opinion, is Singapore affordable and why? Asking as a potential expat here. There's a, how do you afford to live there? Well, I have a job, but I don't, how did, like, do I do it this way or this way? Wow! Living expenses in Singapore can vary. In general, I feel like when it comes to food, it's cheap. Groceries, pretty much the same as in Canada. I do find that I didn't realize how westernized, I guess, my palate was until I moved here, where things like bell peppers are really expensive. Like things that need to be imported from other places, which is practically like everything for Singapore, tends to be really expensive. So like, I was shocked at how expensive avocados are. I feel like I'm gonna stab myself. Like, oh, look at how cute this is. Oh, it looks like a little lollipop. Okay, you can't really see my work in progress right now. Let me try to like shift my workstation over. So basically, I find that in terms of housing costs, it's more or less like comparable to, let's say, if you wanted to live in downtown Toronto in Canada. You know, like it is pricey. For example, if you wanted to live in a condo in Singapore, so not in HDBs, which is like the government subsidized housing. Let's say a 1-bedroom in around city downtown-ish area would be like maybe 2,500 to 3,500, and you can go above and beyond that if you want to. And so if you're moving here for work, definitely make sure that one, if your expat package covers housing or that your salary actually like makes sense. But I find that in general, like entertainment, let's say, you know, if you wanted to go to karaoke or you wanted to go clubbing, you wanted to go to bars, more or less same as, actually no, I take that back. Entertainment for karaoke and stuff, yeah, it's more or less the same as if you lived in like Canada or the States, but alcohol in Singapore is just very expensive. Like, let's say if you wanted to get like some type of liquor, it's gonna be like double the price. In Canada, you have like that ice wine. One bottle of that in Canada is probably like 40 bucks. Here, if you wanted to buy it in duty free at the airport, it's like $100. So it was like really painful buying alcohol, but I always do it like on my way back to Singapore. When I go on work trips or leisure trips, I always try to like bring alcohol back. Oh my god, this looks pretty cute. Look at that. But I don't know how this is gonna stay. Oh, this is so cute. I need to like tie this at the bottom. It's getting very dark outside, and I don't think I'm doing a great job answering that many questions. Let's see, how do you find a job in Singapore? This is such a frequently asked question. So, shall I state that I'm a foreigner and require a working visa in Singapore in my CV, or only at a later stage? Okay, so to that question, most of the time if you're applying for a job online, one of the questions they'll ask you when you're actually filling out the form is, do you require a work visa or sponsorship now or at a later date? Then yes, you should answer honestly. I know it really sucks because it feels like the moment you say you need a work visa, it feels like you're at a disadvantage, but it's not like you can lie about that anyway, because they're gonna find out at some point of the hiring process. Do you need to put it on your CV? I don't think so. Like, I've never actually met anyone that would put that kind of information on a CV. On the CV, you should just put your work experience and your skills and whatnot. And then all the questions about how did I find my job, did I look for it via an agent? I did not. I actually found my job in a very untraditional route. It was someone that I knew in my network who knew me when I was still at my previous role, and they were also at a previous company. Then he left that company to start the company that I work for now, and he remembered me, so he reached out and asked if I was interested in joining the company and moving to Singapore to help with setting up the Asia office. And obviously I was like, yeah, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. So I never actually went through the traditional route of applying for jobs online, but I think with a lot of things when it comes to job application, it's always beneficial to actually just work on networking and find opportunities through that. Let's talk a little bit about the how to move to Singapore if you're on the younger side. So like a young professional in your 20s, i.e. you don't have 20 years of experience under your belt. You're not here to be like the APAC managing director of a massive company. Amongst all the people that I know who are in their 20s here, I would say they fall into two main buckets of how they managed to come here. One would be internal transfer. So basically they found a company that has both, let's say, a Toronto office and a Dubai office and a London office, but also a Singapore office. And they'll work in the Toronto office for, let's say, 2 years and then request for an internal transfer to the Singapore office. And that usually works really well with a lot of people I know because one, you already know what the company does, the product really well, and you know all the internal processes already. So they're more willing to do that. Two is also because I believe internal transfers are not as tedious for the company to figure out in terms of like justifying why they're hiring foreign talent as opposed to local talent. And I think it always is beneficial if you are very skilled in a niche space. When I got my work visa, my company actually had to submit like basically an essay, a biography of me in order to get my employment pass, my EP approved. And then the second way of moving here that I found was relatively more common, but it's not for everyone, is going down the entrepreneurial path. So I have quite a few friends that joined, let's say, programs like Antler or EF, Entrepreneur First, which are sort of like incubator programs where you join and you get, I believe, an entrepreneurial pass. And so they sponsor a work visa for the duration of the program. You get matched up with a co-founder, you start and incorporate a company, and then that's how you stay in Singapore. But obviously that's for people who are interested in starting their own startup, which is not everyone's cup of tea. But amongst my friends, that is the two most popular ways people are able to move here. And then of course there are very specific special circumstances where you are just really flippin' amazing and you get poached from your original company, or a recruiter reaches out to you and then you manage to get a work visa there. Yeah, I mean, it's a long process. I may be oversimplifying things a little bit right now. I can do a more in-depth video where I also interview my friends who are recruiters and my friends who managed to move here and ask them for their experience. Let me know if you guys are interested in doing that. I'd be happy to film that video. Do you think the work life in Singapore is stressful compared to other countries? And there's another question where, does your working experience live up to your expectation? Oh, I honestly, when I first decided to move here, by the way, this is the current situation with the bouquet. I think it's looking not bad. When I first moved here, I honestly just knew that it would be really cool to be in Singapore. I didn't know what to expect. That's basically how I can describe it. I was just really excited. I kept an open mind. I figured because Asian culture is quite particular, I knew what I was getting myself into, but thankfully my company is actually a US based company, so the company culture is still very North American, even though we have locals at our Singapore office. And so a lot of the things that I think in general, if you work for a company that is multinational, then you will be fine. In terms of work-life balance, I think it's also very dependent on what company you're at, because my company is actually like really awesome. We don't actually have a vacation policy, so if you want to take time off to go on vacation, you can. It's very much driven by, as long as you get stuff done and you meet your KPIs, then you're fine. So that's the thing with my company. But in general, I see that people here tend to get into the office around 9, 10 a.m., mostly 9 a.m. I'd say, and then people tend to leave at 6 to 6:30. Yeah, I feel like there is a pretty good work-life balance here. Obviously, it also depends on what industry you're in. I feel like this may be the world's ugliest bouquet ever, but it's the thought that counts, right? Really, the reason why I love Singapore so much is I feel like it's really livable here. I love the fact that you have, well, everything is in close proximity because Singapore is small, but I don't feel claustrophobic or like that I don't have anywhere to go. If I really want to be out in nature, there's a lot of beautiful places, a lot of beautiful parks and like bike paths in Singapore. Like I love going to East Coast Park. It's so nice there. And you're close to the water, so if you want to do water sports, you can as well. So Singapore honestly is really great, and I think one of the things that really amuses me is whenever I talk to a local Singaporean friend, they're always like, why do you like Singapore so much? I feel like a lot of my Singaporean friends want to get out of Singapore, and then the rest of the world really wants to come to Singapore. So I think it's always one of those grass is always greener on the other side situations. And I think a lot of people still always ask me, they're like, why do you like Singapore? It's so hot here. But I'm just like, I like it because it's hot. Like, have you been in Canada in January when it's so depressing and there's slush everywhere and it gets dark at like 4 p.m? Like, that's no fun to me. So I love that in Singapore. It's just, it's sunny, and then when it does rain, it's like heavy rain for 20 minutes, super tropical rain, then it stops, then you're back to normal, and it's really happy everywhere. So I think you just always want what you can't have, basically. So as someone who lived in Canada most of their lives, I think Singapore is fantastic. How do you make this look pretty? Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, this doesn't look as good as I thought. Okay, I'm gonna quickly wrap this up. I don't think I got to film as much as I wanted to and answer as many questions, but I think I got like the bulk of it down. And if you guys want me to clarify some more on some of the answers, then do let me know. I will be more than happy to. This is like not too shabby. This is like not too bad. I thought it was gonna be worse. This is actually like incredibly difficult. But okay, I'm gonna rush to go give this to my friend. I will see you guys in a little bit. I am hugging on to beautiful chicken, fried chicken bouquet. You love flowers and you love fried chicken, so here's a Popeye's bouquet. Oh, hello! Hello! Two birthday girls are here. Hello. Yes. Hi friends. Hello, hello, hello. Wait, make a wish. Yeah, you gotta make a wish. Martin's already out.